Okay, now I'm recording as well, and officially this show's on the road.
Okay. I need to somehow find my way to the bottom here. Huh. Darn it. Somehow my screen is maximized to a different format here. And I cannot find the share. Okay, restore. There we go. That's better. Okay, share my screen. There's sound. There we go. It should be coming up. There we go. I see it on my end. Okay, so I guess we can start now. It is 11:05 a.m. here. This is our Global Cooperation Day Ubuntu Summit 2025. It is Saturday, October 4th, 2025. So this is a Global Cooperation Day. So this event is intended to be a launching point for the UnityNet Climate Smart Global Youth Summit Weeks, also known as Youth Peace Weeks, which takes place from Global Cooperation Day, October 4th, to World Food Day, October 16th. So welcome everyone to the Ubuntu Summit 2025. It's wonderful to see each of you here again, our friends, elders, youth partners from across Turtle Island, Africa, Europe, Asia, and beyond. So Ubuntu means I am because we are. It's the living thread that connects us as one human family. So today we continue our journey toward reconciliation, regeneration, and cooperation across continents. Just let me find the chat so I can put in some different notes into the chat as we are ongoing here. I'll include different links. There we go. Okay. So this gathering is actually brought to you by UnityNet International in partnership with many allied networks across Turtle Island, Africa, and from around the world. So through UnityNet, we are building corridors of peace and regenerative development, living pathways that connect communities, youth, and elders through regenerative education, hands-on practicum training, and learning systems combined with a deep understanding of culture. So this year, we also celebrate the Canada-Ghana-ECOWAS Regenerative Tourism and Development Partnership that is currently unfolding, linking our reconciliation journey in Canada with Africa's tourism renaissance and regenerative climate smart innovation systems. So again, I'm going to put some information in the chat here as well. So I do want to acknowledge as well that this 2025 edition builds on previous Ubuntu summits, each one adding new corridors, new communities, and stronger cooperation, including with our colleagues in East Africa as well. So AHIABGA, or the Ad Hoc International Advisory Board of Goodwill Ambassadors and Activists, or we might rather say, all of humanity is a blessing that has been given abundantly. This principle reminds us that each person carries sacred value. Whether we're from Ghana or Canada, from Kenya or Korea, we're each a reflection of one creator and one earth. Our challenge and our joy is to recognize that blessing in each other and to live out or live it out through service. So again, this definition of the AHIABGA International Advisory Board of Goodwill Ambassadors. I want to invite participants to actually type one word in the chat that expresses what AHIABGA means to them. So we begin by acknowledging that I speak from Tikaranto, the dish with one spoon territory, which is home to the Mississaugas of the Credit, the Anishinaabe, the Chippewa, the Haudenosaunee, the Huron-Wendat, as well as the Métis peoples. We'd also like to acknowledge the land we're on as at the meeting place of two treaties, the lands of the Mississaugas of the Credit and those of the First Nations of the Williams Treaty. And we also acknowledge the Truro Wampum Belt Covenant, an agreement between the Six Nations of the Tikaranto watershed and the settlers, an agreement that bound them to work together, but to develop their societies in parallel on these shared lands. We honor the enduring presence of Indigenous peoples worldwide who continue to care for land, water, and life as stewards of Mother Earth. Ubuntu asks us to extend that knowledge beyond words into actions of respect, reciprocity, and repair. So let me just copy that note in the chat as well. So I want to ask people to get to pause for 5 seconds of silence, invite participants on this call now to also reflect on the ancestral lands that they are joining from. So Ubuntu actually means I am because we are. It teaches that our well-being is interwoven. When one person suffers, we all suffer. When one person thrives, we all rise. Ubuntu invites us to practice empathy, generosity, and forgiveness, to see each other as kin rather than competitors. The spirit is the foundation of unity and of our shared work in regeneration and peace building. So again, in the chat, you'll find some notes as well about what I'm talking about in each slide. So before we continue, I'd like to take a moment to reflect on humanism. It's a word that has evolved over time, but at its core, humanism reminds us of the incredible potent agency of human beings. It is a philosophical stance that begins with us, our capacity for empathy, reason, and moral choice. Humanism sees people as basically good and capable of improving themselves and others through compassion and action. So some forms, like secular humanism, emphasize reason and science, while others embrace faith as a vital expression of our humanity. At its heart, humanism invites us to recognize that we each carry moral value and a shared responsibility to help one another live better lives. So second, I need to copy and paste into the chat. So again, I'd like to invite participants to consider how Ubuntu and humanism complement each other, both centering on the sacred worth of every person and our shared duty to lift one another. So actually, at this point in time, I would like to introduce the film. So this is why we are here. Each year at this Ubuntu Summit, we do share this remarkable film, The Sultan and the Saint, which is a true story of encounter and understanding during the Crusades. It shows how Saint Francis of Assisi and Sultan al-Kamil found peace through mutual respect, listening, and faith. As you watch, see yourself in that meeting as a bridge builder in your own community. So let's open our hearts to what this story teaches about humility and courage in times of division. So this is actually where I will need to stop my current share and share another screen. So I will go to here. And I will hopefully be able to play this as a full screen. So it's a little bit messed up. I'm not sure what's going on here. I believe I need to, hold on, go to my PowerPoint. And stop this. And go. Let's use this. Sorry, there we go. Just trying to find maximize button for the screen size. And I will share again. What's going on? Share. Sorry for the technical issues. So we'll share the screen for Sultan and the Saint, and we'll play the film. Okay. Hopefully everybody can see.
Viewers like you make this
Uh-oh.
program possible. Support your local PBS station.
Apologies for the connectivity issues here. I don't know. I had reloaded this earlier.
The year is 1220. It is the height of the Crusades. Muslims and Christians have been fighting one another in a war that has lasted for over 120 years. Tens of thousands of Christian soldiers are trapped and dying on a flooded field in Egypt. The opposing Muslim army blocked their only escape. St. Francis of Assisi and the Sultan of Egypt, Mohammed al-Kamil, have defied the angry times and human nature itself to cross the bloody battle lines and meet each other. But will it make a difference? How does anyone stop a seemingly endless conflict? beset by revolts and numerous assassination attempts, the beleaguered ruler of the Eastern Christian Empire of Byzantium makes a reluctant appeal. He asks the rival pope of the Catholic Church in Rome for mercenaries. He wants an outside army in his pay, palace guards he can trust, and soldiers to fight off Muslim invaders on his borders. The Pope seizes the opportunity to assert Rome's power and perhaps reunite the two churches under it. He doesn't send the emperor the mercenaries he wants. Instead, he sends his own army to fight the Muslims. If it succeeds, Rome will dominate the region. The Eastern Church will never rival it again. The Pope calls for a crusade to recapture Jerusalem after 5 centuries of Muslim rule. Most people who answer the Pope's call are not killers. Many are peasants who never fought before.
We know that from some developmental psychology that children have this tendency towards empathy towards others, that they have a tendency to behave altruistically towards others. That they have kind of the underpinnings of morality and justice, and all of these things help a society remain together. If you have all of these psychological tendencies that are preventing you from harming others, how do you motivate people to fight against other humans? One of the most common ways is through dehumanization.
Your brethren who live in the East are in urgent need of your help. Carry aid promptly to those Christians. And destroy that vile race from the lands of our friends. Those who refuse to pay him the servant's service that they owe him will justly deserve to suffer a sentence of damnation.
What you unleash then is a certain religious fervor. We are going to take our holy sites from these non-believers. Of course, non-believers are thrown into one category, which would include Jews.
Crusades' first victims are not Muslims. They are the Jews of Europe.
There's nothing special about the teachings of religion that's driving conflict. Evidence is starting to show that the psychological tendencies that drive conflict are a complex combination of processes in the brain. They're a bunch of kind of deep structures that are underneath, that are kind of central in the brain, oftentimes referred to as the reptilian brain. And we know that it responds really strongly to fear conditioning, fear learning.
The religious propaganda focused on demonize the other as heretical, as satanic. And when you see that you have in your midst the other as well, you say, why not start killing him?
Some of the Crusaders attacked the Jewish communities. The excuse was that the whole race was guilty of the death of Christ, and therefore they were fair game.
This kind of moral disengagement from harming others through dehumanization seems to be a major route through which you can get one group of humans to actually harm, kill another group of humans.
Pagans, those who would follow Christ to the crown, let them also follow him to battle!
You have a situation where you have a lot of fear activated, so the subcortical structures are kind of going off the hook. It's very strong. It has a powerful effect on our behaviors and can flip immediately.
So as the Crusaders make their way across Europe, they're not distinguishing between the Muslims who have captured the holy sites in Palestine and the Jews who lived amongst them in Europe. So all quote-unquote non-believers, including schismatic Christians, are the targets. When the Crusaders come into Jerusalem, Christians are killed along with Jews and Muslims. No one is distinguished from the other.
As far as they were concerned, they were all wearing strange clothes, people of a strange culture, so they must all be our enemies.
The cries of battle fade. Silence descends on the conquered city. But it is not the end of violence. It is only the beginning. Christians and Muslims battle back and forth over Jerusalem for almost 90 years. In 1187, troops commanded by the famous Muslim leader Saladin retake the city. Jerusalem is no longer under Christian control. In the glow of this victory, Saladin's young nephew prepares to be a leader himself one day. His name is Muhammad al-Kamil. More than Jerusalem will be at stake when he becomes Sultan. The very future of Islam will be in his hands. Even as a child, al-Kamil stands out.
He loved philosophy, mathematics, learning, and of course studying his own faith.
Typically, a traditional Islamic education would begin with memorization of the Quran. And the Quran, as Muslims believe it, is the eternal, uncreated word of God.
A childhood filled with so many expectations other eases the demands.
The Quran speaks to religious communities other than the community of Muhammad. The Quran speaks to Jews and Christians who are children of Abraham, who share the faith in the one God.
No compulsion. No compulsion is to be on them.
We have significant theological and practical differences, but we harness those differences to compete with one another, not in animosity, but towards the common good of all.
He grew up with a great love of learning. It was certainly part of the royal court for him to be trained to be the leader of Egypt.
Al-Kamil comes to power at a time of crisis in Egypt. Poor harvests have brought famine. Political dissent challenges his rule. Religious tensions are on the rise.
Enough. Enough.
But a greater danger looms across the sea. Cries for the recapture of Jerusalem once again sweep through Europe. In the markets and streets and taverns, a romanticized view of war takes hold. Many dream about the glories of battle and are eager for the coming conflict. One of them is a young man named Francis, from a small Italian town called Assisi.
As a young man, Francis is what we might call a bon vivant, a man around town. His social activities are hanging out with his friends, probably going around Assisi, making a little bit of trouble.
Although he was a member of the middle class, and his father being the merchant, Francis also had pretensions of the class above him, the aristocracy, the nobility. He liked to dress in fine clothing. He liked the panoply of being a knight, the armor, the weaponry. He was like a knight wannabe.
Petty wars between Italian city-states were common. When one erupts between Assisi and a neighboring city, Francis eagerly joined.
And suddenly he's thrust into battle. And of course, battle at this time is horrible. This is hand-to-hand combat. This isn't anything abstract.
Since Francis is from a wealthy family, he's taken prisoner and held for ransom.
He languished until his father could ransom him from captivity, but it took a year.
Francis leaves that imprisonment after a year as a shattered and hollowed out young man.
Was he simply going to return to his life of carousing and just having fun?
How are you? What are you doing? What are you...
What was his life to be about? What was he being called to?
In Cairo, a dispute between Muslims and Christians threatens bloodshed.
Sultan al-Kamil has very good relations with Christians. On one occasion, there was a dispute about whether a mosque or a church should be built on a certain site.
A mob in Egypt wanted to build a mosque next to the most holy Christian church in Cairo.
It must go. A mosque once stood here. It must be rebuilt. No mosque was ever here.
He determined that there had been a church there earlier, which was the claim the Christians were making, and so he supported them in that.
You are looking for excuses to justify a wrong. It must be rebuilt. No, no, it must be rebuilt. It must go.
No. When the mobs were throwing stones at him, he didn't react violently. He didn't ask his bodyguards to go and kill them.
God created a separate nation so that we could learn from one another. Become better than what we are. Not harm one another. Become one less.
This became very controversial. He was willing to take some heat for this. The Christians really appreciated that they were being treated fairly.
Francis spends a number of months, perhaps even a year, wandering in the countryside. One day he comes to the profound insight of his life, which will be the foundation for the rest of his life and his spirituality and of his own order.
Leprosy was a common and much feared disease in the Middle Ages.
Francis had an abhorrence of lepers.
they would have to make some kind of noise with a bell or a clapper when someone was approaching.
He realizes, perhaps the first time in his life, these are genuinely suffering human beings, men and women. Like himself, this then becomes the foundational insight. Every man and woman, without exception in creation, is a brother and a sister, one to another, constituting a commonality that we all share with each other.
That basic conviction that really took hold in Francis's heart set him on a path that was very different than his original dream.
Francis adopts this life of voluntary poverty and penance and preaching a message of peace. Gradually, there's other young men in this town who see this as an attractive to that is afflicting them.
There is darkness going on, light is coming out, and there is sadness. Joy. We are more than just our daily struggle. The Lord has made us all for a greater purpose. To be instruments of peace. Where there is doubt, faith, it is in giving that we receive. It is in pardoning that we are pardoned. It is in dying that we are born to eternal life.
There was a tremendous response to living in the world in this way, and little by little, a number of people followed Francis.
Francis travels the country, preaching about the Lord of Love. But the medieval church still holds to the vision of a ferocious, vengeful God who summons believers to war. A new pope, Pope Innocent III, calls for another crusade.
Every day, during the celebration of Mass, when the time has come, before the kiss of peace, the priest should say to their flocks, God, we humbly beseech thee, to snatch this land from our enemy!
Crusaders go to Constantinople on promises to fund their new war over the Holy Land. When the payments don't come, they attack Byzantium instead.
Once you've stoked this in-group fervor, it seems like that can be applied to many different outgroups.
They make a prostitute sit on the emperor's throne.
They tried to sell this whole idea to the Pope by saying, oh, now we hold Constantinople, we've also restored it to the true Holy Catholic faith.
Pope Innocent III explicitly banned attacks on Christian communities. But with Constantinople in ruins, he decides to assert Rome's authority. He dispatches a trusted cardinal named Pelagius to take control.
Cardinal Pelagius was sent as the Pope's legate, and he was sent to solidify the gains of the Latin Christian Church, the Roman Church, against the Greek clergy who wanted to return to their own city.
He wears these scarlet robes, which was something new at the time, because that's the color of the martyrs that he's adopted.
What has happened here is a travesty.
Don't speak until given permission.
Such behavior.
Tell him to tell his priests that they are subject to the one true Pope, His Holiness in Rome.
What right do you have?
Him that the only words I want to hear from him are the names of those priests who ignore this. That is all.
He was known to be a hard-nosed, intransigent supporter of the papal policy. In other words, it was the supremacy of the Latin Church over any competitors, be they the Greek Church, be they Islam.
No one speaks unless Pelagius first gives permission. Understand? Go.
After the sacking of Constantinople, Pope Innocent III vows that the next crusade will be under strict papal control. He sends an order to the priests throughout Europe to recruit a new army. One of the most successful preachers was a German priest named Oliver of Paderborn.
He was a cleric. He was involved in preaching the crusade, a very intelligent man, very pious man. He was also technically minded because he designed some of the war machines used during the crusade.
A strategic decision was made by the Christian leadership to attack Egypt.
If we could control that trade route, we would be rich people.
If the Crusaders conquer Egypt, they can easily take Jerusalem. And if powerful Egypt falls, the Muslim Middle East will likely fall with it. Only one thing stands in their way: the fortress city Damietta. Of the Nile.
The Crusaders could not sail through the Nile unless they took the town. So if you were to control Damietta, you almost control Egypt.
One of the most important sources we have on the crusade comes from the pen of Oliver of Paderborn, who comes on site and leaves us a remarkable chronicle of the events around the siege of Damietta.
The capture of hostile land was achieved without any loss of blood. Upon coming to shore, a few Egyptians approached, but a Frisian struck one dead with an iron spear, and the rest fled in terror.
News of the invasion reaches Cairo. Al-Kamil hurries a force to Damietta. Vastly outnumbered, Al-Kamil's soldiers can only dig in and defend the perimeter.
What's the report? Sire, more of their reinforcements came today, bringing more siege weapons. Damietta's walls are strong, but they've never been tested against such fearsome weapons before. They launched another assault.
He's in a rather precarious position. We know that he even faced the danger of a coup from within. You can clearly see in his attempts to come to terms with the Crusaders, a ruler who is very concerned with the damage that the crusading campaign is having on Egypt. And the reality is he needs to come to some kind of deal, otherwise he's going to face destruction.
The war racks Egypt for 2 years. During this time, Francis is preaching the gospel and growing his movement across Europe. Now, he wants to bring his message of peace to the crusade. He travels to Damietta with another friar named Illuminatus. NATO.
Francis tells us that he clearly heard God asking him to be a peacemaker in this world. A peacemaker in the manner of Jesus Christ. Francis realized that the message he was given to promote peace in the world necessitated him going to the Muslims.
He wants to reach out to these people who are supposed to be the great enemies of Christendom. I just have to say, Francis thought big.
Pelagius is sent by the Pope to lead the new crusade.
His presence in the camp at Damietta was a rather provocative presence. He was an instigator in order to ensure that the Pope's policy of the defeat of Islam happened.
Soon after arriving, Francis faces his first test. Pelagius calls for a new assault on Damietta.
Francis decides that he's going to speak out against this battle. He feels he's called to do this. And he goes out and, according to one of the Franciscan chronicles, begins to denounce the battle and to urge that the soldiers not fight.
The saint leapt to his feet and rushed to the Christians, crying out warnings to save them. Forbidding war and threatening disaster. But they took the truth as a joke. They hardened their hearts and refused to turn back.
It was a terrible day for the Christian army. Thousands of people were killed. Very important people were captured. It was a total disaster.
This is what we will do.
Following his victory, Al-Kamil proposes a treaty to end the war.
Terms for a treaty. Treaty?
Not all his generals agree.
It offers the Pope control over the Christian holy places.
And why give them anything? Let's punish them.
And how many more of our men will die if we do? What about the people of Damietta? Starving to death. Cannot wait. Let's give our Pope what he wants. Send his army.
Al-Kamil hurries a messenger to the Crusader camp with his peace offer.
Did that messenger look like the devil? Because this so-called treaty is surely the devil's work.
John of Brienne, the acknowledged leader of the crusade, is the commander of the army in name only. The real authority is with Pelagius.
But we will be weak no longer.
The Sultan gives us control over our holy places. Isn't that what we want?
It isn't what we want. It isn't what we want at all. We can finish this once and for all! Here, now!
Yes, we can finish it.
But put away the swords and bring the gospel of Christ to them. Only then will there be peace. Who is this friar who speaks without permission?
I am Brother Francis.
Francis finally reveals his plan. He hopes to end the crusade by preaching the gospel and converting the Muslim army.
So, young friar, you want to preach to them? Don't you think that they'll kill you on sight? And what difference would it make anyway to preach to a handful of their soldiers?
I intend to preach to the Sultan.
Oh, now you're being ridiculous! If the Sultan is not the devil himself, he is surely the devil's servant. He'll cut your tongue out after just one word and likely nail it to your forehead. No. I'm sorry. You think his real intention is to martyr himself?
Francis may indeed expect to be killed in this effort, but then that would help Pelagius' cause.
I sent for you to tell you that I've changed my mind. You may go.
Thank you, Your Holiness. Thank you. I will not waver. You have my word.
I'm sure that you won't.
Thank you.
Francis and Illuminato cross the corpse-strewn battlefield.
Wait, please! Please! Wait!
Guards almost kill them. Francis shouts that he's an ambassador of Christ. Maybe this man is bringing news about the Sultan's treaty.
Please.
Who is this? I am an emissary.
With news from the King of Rome?
For the King of the universe.
Is it to be peace then?
The greatest peace of all, I pray.
Stop the riddles. Is it yes or no?
It's neither. He isn't sent by their leader. Isn't that right?
No, I come for Christ. I come to preach. I come for peace.
It's an insult. If this is their answer, we should kill them.
Come. Sit with me. Bring them some food.
I think that Francis must have been surprised at what he experienced among the Muslim people, because the popular notion was that Muslims were heathens. They were considered the enemy, of course, and more strongly, they were considered beasts.
After this encounter in the tent of the Sultan, Francis and Illuminato were pretty much given free rein to walk and to be and to live in the camp for a few weeks.
These two were indeed seeking peace in the midst of war, so they were open to being transformed by the person who was allegedly their enemy.
One account says that Francis offered to walk through fire to prove the truth of the gospel. The Sultan declined the demonstration, but said that Francis could address his court.
Francis would have heard the call to prayer 5 times a day. I believe in watching Muslims pray men 5 times daily, that it really struck Francis unexpectedly. I don't think he was expecting to see this, to know this, but I think it profoundly moved him.
مالك يوم الدين إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين اهدنا
In the name of God, the merciful and compassionate, glory be to God, the Lord of the worlds, the merciful and compassionate King of the day of judgment. It is you alone we worship.
It is you alone we ask for help.
Give us this day our daily bread. Forgive us our trespasses, as we forgive those who trespass against us. Lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. Amen.
You can directly challenge this perception of dehumanization by showing someone an example of a member of the other group who's particularly human, right? Who displays these very characteristics that you define humanity by. It makes sense from a neuroscience perspective why this would be so transformative. If you eliminate that distinction between us and them, processes that would normally be there to drive conflict are now all taken offline, wholesale.
Francis, I believe, came to the insight by watching Muslim men and women pray that prayer is of the essence for the creature. That if you are a creature, what you do is pray.
Faith. Where there is despair, hope. Where there is darkness, light.
Al-Kamil fulfills his promise.
May we not...
Francis addresses the Sultan's court.
So, to be understood...
There is before him a man who makes no demands, who makes no threats, who does not insult his religion, and probably is simply preaching.
Al-Kamil might ask a theologian or a scholar in his court to be a respondent.
Oh, people.
That was part of a classical Islamic court life and court manners.
Respect they had for each other spoke volumes to Francis that this indeed was not an enemy. This was not a beast, but this truly was a brother.
We believe. Sultan welcomed us.
I am so pleased that my prayers were answered and that God
Protected you from these wretched infidels.
It is indeed a miracle. But I have even greater news to report. Reinforcements will be arriving in the morning. And our spies tell us that sickness and starvation have set in behind the city walls. It won't be long now.
If you give up the rhetoric of hate, then why continue a war? And the point was that the church at the time had a vested interest in keeping the war going. They wanted Jerusalem, they wanted Egypt, that much was apparent.
Pelagius rejects Al-Kamil's peace offer. The war will go on until Egypt is theirs.
Sire, they launched another assault on Damietta. Sire,
Assemble the men. I'll lead them.
The Crusaders keep besieging Damietta, attacking, being repulsed. It's a stalemate, but little by little, the siege of Damietta is taking its toll on the people inside.
How long since they've been at the ramparts?
3 days.
Alert Cardinal Pelagius.
There were 80,000 people at the start of this war, and almost all of them die from disease and starvation. And so in the end, a party of Christian troops, Crusader troops goes, and they just kind of go up and enter the city.
The Crusader army marched the high. Al-Kamil must retreat. The panicked population flees the countryside. All is lost. Ill and dispirited, Francis has returned to Assisi.
It's really a low point in his life. First of all, he's ill. Secondly, he's learned that his order has gone in directions that he disagrees with.
All of a sudden in his writings, there is this universal vision of men and women all called into the praise of God. I think that it is profoundly rooted in what he observed first in Damietta among Muslim men and women. And then this insight gets translated into his own writing to all Christian men and women. He writes a letter which we call the Letter to All the Faithful, in which he urges every man and woman in the world to pray.
In another letter, he writes, perhaps a herald could go through the town announcing time for prayer.
He says that you must make Christians stop every day and pray together wherever they are. the biggest indication that Francis was changed by his encounter with Sultan Al-Kamil is that he rewrote the rule of his order, its code of conduct, its constitution really, to say to his friars that you can go and live in peace among Muslims.
You could not have a saintly figure who is willing to see the goodness in non-Christians.
Guard.
Pelagius is within a few days' march of Cairo. His only thought now is to defeat Al-Kamil and take Egypt.
The Crusaders thought that they got it made. They were marching towards Cairo. What could stop them now? The answer is the Nile.
The Nile is rising, and they've made camp here in the floodplain.
The Crusader army does penetrate deeper into Egypt, but doesn't know the terrain, doesn't understand these networks of canals that they have, and this river, this ancient river, which can be raised and lowered.
Al-Kamil ordered the sluice gates open and he flooded the country.
They go to sleep one night and ready for battle, and the next day they're flooded. They're in mud up to their waists.
Your Holiness, we are defeated.
This is it. They've left us no choice. And you know it.
All the generals told him, let's go for the kill.
The encounter of Francis with the Sultan Malik al-Kamil is probably best portrayed as an encounter of faith. It was a faith exchange. It wasn't so much an intellectual debate, but it was an exchange of two men of faith testifying to how God has led them to this point in their lives, and each seemed, according to the testimonies, okay to listen to the other's perspective and allow God to be God in the lives of both of them.
Surrounded by the floodwaters, they must have been going down like flies with plague and all the problems that you have when I've got a large army camped out on flooded ground.
They can't fight. They're surrounded. The Muslim army could kill them all at will.
He realized that the Crusaders are now in a very dire situation. They had starvations in their camp. They are surrounded by mud. They can't escape. So he orders 50,000 loaves of bread sent to them every day and 1,100 bushels of barley for the animals.
The Sultan was moved by such compassion that for many days he freely fed us as we were dying of hunger. Who can doubt that such kindness, mildness, and mercy proceeded from God?
Francis wants once again to write. He writes what we call the praises of God. He names the attributes of God that he's giving praise for. And he says things like, you are mercy, you are forgiveness, you are compassion.
What's remarkable about that is that it's the very way that Muslims invoke the 99 beautiful names of God.
The 99 names of God are attributes of God. For example, the merciful, the compassionate, are the qualities embodied by God, are the ways in which God interacts with creation. And Muslims recite and meditate upon these divine names as a means of self-transformation.
The Crusaders surrendered control of Damietta and returned to Europe. Pelagius' dream of conquering Egypt was over. A few years later, he lost another war against the Christian king who refused to send troops to the Crusade. Shortly after that final defeat, Pelagius died. Oliver of Paderborn returned to Germany, never again taking up the trade of war. John of Brienne gave his wealth to the Franciscan order. He was buried wearing the simple robes of a friar. Al-Kamil's act of humanity marked the beginning of the end of the terrible period of conflict known as the Crusades.
People are less anxious to sign up for crusading. They were no longer convinced that Islam was the implacable enemy of Christendom. Another reason being the emphasis on the God that Christ preached. loving God, the God who forgives, becomes much more important.
Your love. Your charity. You are our hope.
Francis died 7 years after Damietta. 2 years later, the church declared him a saint.
Loving. Guide to the right path. The all-forgiving. The merciful. The compassionate.
Al-Kamil ruled for 20 more years. His reign was marked by fairness towards the Christians of Egypt. He buried his mother in the mausoleum of a famous Muslim scholar he studied as a boy. Bloodshed and war had little to do with Sultan and Francis. Angry, dehumanizing words sparked violence today as before, transcending differences. The road to peace runs through the common humanity that we all share.
They hardened their hearts and refused to turn back.
Hello, everybody. Sorry, apologies for the slow response on the videos today. I don't know what was wrong with my audio. So we did get finally through the movie. I did leave a YouTube link. I saw that Rachel asked if there was a way to get the video, and Val earlier, who was on the call with us, did mention that he found another link to YouTube, since the site that I'm playing off of is actually this canopy.com. So I'm not sure exactly what was the issue on the loading, because I had loaded it earlier, hoping that it would be fully loaded into my system by the time we were ready to play it, but unfortunately not. So actually this day does continue. The conversations start again via this Zoom call. We actually have a few other events videos to play as well on YouTube as well. What I'm going to do is also open up the floor for anybody that would like to provide their comments on the film as they just saw it. So I know that some of you probably didn't see the entire thing and come in late. For instance, I saw that Rachel came in just later. Yes.
So first of all, thank you, Lloyd, for showing the film. Despite the fact that the technical issues were hard, I got the message. I watched the whole thing. And not many people know about me that I lived for 1 year in Turkey. And I have had the opportunity to witness Islam and Islamic culture as well. I was there 3 times in Turkey already. And this movie was for me very important from the humanity point of view, that people should be friendly together, hospitable, and listening to each other's in the not only about religion, but about anything, race, culture, and gender, and lead the dialogue together. So this is from my side. Thank you very much for showing it, and good luck with the rest of the festival.
Yes, thank you so much. I actually every time I watch this film, I do find something new. I think in the new perspective of what we are doing, it actually also reminds us that peace is not a dream, but is actually a daily discipline. So where Francis and the Sultan didn't erase their differences, they transcended them. So that's what we're actually trying to do with UnityNet, or through the programs we have, by learning to see diversity as our strength, not our separation. And I think this year, with the publication of our Declaration on Unadulterated Pluralism, that's what really stood out for me this year in watching the film one more time. So this is actually our, I believe our 2001 was when we started. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We're now, this is the 5th time I've seen the film. And we're hoping that this sort of message can be more understood by more people, I think, at this time, especially in history. So let's continue with the short film as well, called Encounter Point. It actually shows ordinary people from conflict zones who choose dialogue over revenge, and fits beautifully after the Sultan and the Saint film, because it reminds us that the same spirit of courage is still alive today in places like Palestine and Rwanda and other places around the world, in our own neighborhoods included as well. So I'm going to do one more time. Let me just share a screen here one more time. Hopefully this one will work a little better. It had sitting around loading for quite a while. Let's try this.
التي بإمكانها أن تؤسس لأصول الحوار وأصول الوئام والوفاق مهمة، ومن بينها هذه القصة بخاصة عندما اختار البابا جان بول الثاني مدينة أسيز ليطلق في سنة 1901 و86 حوارا في الديانات، حوارا بين الإسلام والمسيحية في هذه المدينة. فهو أراد من ذلك أن يبرز هذا الرمز، وبالتالي فأنا أرى أنها من بين قصص أخرى يمكن أن تكون مبهمة الحوار والنطق. أنا أعتقد أن الأرضية للحوار متوفرة تاريخيا وحتى من خلال النصوص الشرعية، فلا يوجد إشكال من حيث النظر نظريا بمعنى لكن قد يكون الإشكال هو الإشكال عملي، هو إشكال من ناحية براتيك، من الناحية العملية التطبيقية. أما من الناحية النظرية لا يوجد إشكال، لأن القرآن يثني على النصارى ويأمر أيضا بالجدال بالحسنى، ولا تجادلوا أهل الكتاب إلا بالتي هي أحسن إلا الذين ظلموا منهم. وأريد أن أفسر هنا إلا الذين ظلموا منهم أي والذين ظلموا منهم، بمعنى أنهم ليسوا مستثنين من الحوار، كما يقول التلمساني في كتابه مفتاح الوصول إلى تخريج الفروع على الأصول في علم الأصول، فقال إن هذه إلا بمعنى الواو. أردت أن أنبه على هذا لأن الكثير من الناس يظنون أنه لا يجوز الحوار مع الآخرين، بينما السيرة النبوية تؤيد الحوار حتى مع من تعتقد أنه ظلمك.
There are many verses in the Quran that praise the Christians, for instance, and encouraging dialogue with them. And in fact, there is a verse that very clearly states that speak with them and dialogue with them, except those who have been oppressive. Now, the except there, which in Arabic is a particle that means illa, which means it's an exception. But as Imam al-Taramsani in a famous book on Usul al-Fiqh said, that illa is actually a conjunction. It's not an exception. And so it includes those who are oppressive. So even dialogue with those who are oppressing you.
فلا يوجد إشكال من ناحية النظرية، الإشكال فقط هو من ناحية التطبيقية العملية.
So it's important that people understand that from a theoretical perspective, there's no problem with dialogue. The problem really comes in terms of the practice of it, that people fail to practice what is theoretically not only possible, but actually is encouraged.
لأن مشكلة المظالم ومشكلة العالم الذي نعيش فيه الكونتكست، يعني مشكلة البيئة العالمية والتاريخية، التراكمات التاريخية هي التي ربما تعكر على هذا الحوار.
So one of the problems that we're facing is all of these grievances. So we have all these social grievances, the environments we live in, that the environment itself, the global environment right now, does not encourage it for a lot of people because there's so many things that are happening and these feelings that people have. That it ends up clouding the possibility for dialogue, which is unfortunate.
أعتقد كل محاولة لبنية طيبة هي تستحق التشجيع، وبالتالي أنا أشجع الحوار. وأيضا هذه القصة مهمة جدا.
This story is a very important story historically and also a rich story that can enable dialogue to take place.
So thank you again. Yeah, so that was, I did put the link in. I saw, Kitty, you asked for that link there. So I wanted to, again, invite everyone to note that and ask what qualities of leadership and empathy they see in these real world peacemakers. So this is today's world, of course, now. So the Interfaith Dialogue project that we just saw reminds us again that peace begins with space listening deeply to one another. And one of the most important efforts in this regard is that a common word between you, us, and you. And in this document, 138 Muslim scholars, clerics, and intellectuals came together for the first time to affirm the shared foundation between Islam and Christianity. So they pointed to two simple but profound commandments as our common ground, one being the love of God and the two being the love of neighbor, where this message is universal and invites every person of goodwill of any faith or none to live by love of the good and love of one another, and offers a starting point for cooperation grounded in the deepest wisdom of both the Quran and the Bible. And so actually I will put in another chat post here for this. Sorry, I'm trying to find the chat here. So you can find the link here. I hope that this works. No, something went wrong there. I will just put in the link by itself. Here, because it seems not proper. Okay, there we go. So again, I'm going to invite participants to take a moment to think about what love of neighbor means in their own tradition, how we can live it more fully in our daily lives. And so again, I'd like to pause for the first dialogue. In the spirit of Ubuntu, please share what resonated with you from these two films so far. Feeling, an idea, or a story from your own life, and how can we bring this spirit of encounter into our communities? So what message from the film speaks to your heart today?
Yes, sir. Hello.
Hello, Benson.
Hello, Benson. Yes, sir. I am very much happy to be in this meeting today. And grateful now for the blessing of living. Members, I am Benson Nyaga Kagete, Secretary General, Lead Community Coordinator, National Coordination, the National Community Ambassadors, a member and representative of the World Conference of Mayors in Kenya and East Africa. And really, I usually like to give a chance now for our people now to talk. That when I really be concluding, I summarize that because, as I say, I'm the Secretary General. This is now the people's voice. When I'm talking on behalf of people. There are people behind us. And really now up to where we are now. It is indeed a way we have really come from far. And now based on the video and what we are discussing today as the Global Day for Peace, we are discussing and saying now that it is a Ubuntu Summit 2025. And that is now Global Cooperation Day, Saturday, October 4th, 2025. And I'm happy now to be under the Global Unity Network. And also seeing a media there, AHIABGA-TV. And with all now our philosophy of the Ubuntu, I am because we are. Really, we are on a network. A recording is being done. There's a meeting which is going on. And I'm happy now here from Kenya now here, seeking now for the global cooperation. And see how now we should get moving. That video have shown us the way the Saint and the Sultan really got on board. And in our structure, there is somehow religion has been in one way affected operations. And in that case, within our structure of operating, we have a religious department or a religious leader. In our national community ambassadors, we focus on three main objectives: that is security, peace and reconciliation, empowerment, that is now poverty reduction, and the behavior change and communication. But now when we saw the community, we subdivided it into 9 departments. Those departments are security, women, youth, people living disability, parents, elderly, education, land, and health. But we saw there is a need of a religion because religion is part of us, and every religion or every synagogue, every mosque, every church is within a village or an estate and a village elder or a balozi nyumbakumi. I've had a problem now with our coast recently from last year. A pastor known as Mackenzie, who have really buried over 200 people with the belief that these people now are coming to the church and to that ministry so that they can be able to get to the heaven. We have had churches and religions saying now we are the end of the world. And it is because of how now a son or daughter is brought up by his parents. So some of our people here now believe now that religion is something I will have to go to the religion that my father and parents have shown me which is. But entirely now within our framework, we don't recognize any religion. We say all religions are ours. And this is the time now I really need us to be able to sort now this problem of the Muslim and the Islamic. Because they are sons and daughters of one person. Even me, our blood is red. So I'm really, and it is a video have shown us now a way of how now we can have a dialogue and be able to set the peace within our community. And in that case now, within our framework with our UnityNet, FOU, we have gone to a stage now that we are implementing. I'm talking now from our village, the Rome village, where now we have been getting on up to where now we are here now having a calendar of activities. And yesterday we had a meeting that summarized staff now asked that we are now to come up with the Peace Healing Academy. And already we have communicated with our office and we have given out that information that the first Peace Healing Academy, it will be in the Rome village. I am looking forward ahead of Monday, tomorrow for the clearance of the compound of the office. By Monday, I meet the village the village elder and his 10 cluster leaders, so that now from there we can be able now to start now structuring that committee in line with our 27 portfolio based on the 9 departments, the way we need now the structure of the committee to be. Then from there now, we can be able now to get now to the next stage of how each department is supposed to know exactly what are the mandate of the youth department. How is the security department supposed to be? And all of them will be learning. Because that committee, they cannot be discussing a youth problem while now the health department, the health leader doesn't even know what are the causes. So due to the interdepartmental relationship or framework, they are going all to learn. And in fact, now this is something now that I need to put it down, structure it, We have the logic based on the data and the input that is going to come from the mainnets and from the discussions and whatever we are going to structure. And then we are happy to having a setup here. So I may like us now to get to the implementation itself. All these other problems we'll be able now to sort, because as Lloyd, you have said, that peace is not a dream, but it is a daily doctrine. We need a sensitization of every day to our people. Our youth are confused, our mothers and our parents and even our elders. In terms of farming, in terms of even communication, a father cannot let a child, a youth now to get a plate of food now within his home because just the youth is now doing some several jobs here and there. It is a time now we need to see now how are we going now to sustain our human being. And I'm seeing it very well because in our national anthem we say we have got plenty within our borders. And indeed, if we have now like a place like Turkana where we got oil, God cannot give us children and then we be unable now to tackle them. What I need is to bring the government now services to the village, where now we can now start discussing exactly on the ground that this is the road we want to build. These are the students that need to be paid for education. This is the way we need to manage our health. This is how we need to manage our housing. If it is in terms of our entrepreneurship base, if we have any child or any youth who has a degree or any professional, he is ours. This is the time now a village to know how many electricians does it have, so that it can make them resourceful. How many doctors does it have? From there now we can come up with an information system which is really generating this information right from the right person, and then seek partnership now all globally, and there is now global cooperation. We be able now to put this thing across the public, just as the letter was written down to the apostles or to those who are to spread now the message. Through global UnityNet, this message and be provided as fast as possible because we are late. I am starting with this village, but I'm sure even within 1 month after this now 14 days, the days which you have really put across, by next month I need to be activating now other village, all the rest villages within our sub-county. There's more. That's why now I'm just starting with my village, Rome. But based on the activities, because all the others are, it will be active, because I need by December, we'll be all covered in all our villages in Kenya. So that we can have an adequate time now of preparation of what now our projects are adhering to do with our Vision 2030. I know what the government wants, the project that the government has. But those projects happen within the villages and estates, and now they cannot be able to happen well if now the citizens are not engaged. So, Canada's, Americans, I'm saying really, we just appreciate. I am really now servant leadership needing now to show it step by step, physically, so that now you can be able now to put it across and be able to get now the world at large, have our environment, our village environment left to the village elders, to the village administration, seek now to know exactly what now each village has in terms of its raw materials. And by those raw materials and the model of how now we are going to make those materials into finished products, that is manufacturing, starting now from the garbage. Garbage is something which is always in our homes, giving us problems. Yet it can either be able to generate even fuel. It can be able even to generate fertilizers. So this is a time now I need us now to think and put them across well. So I have been communicating with Lloyd. You know all what what I need, and that is the communication. So I am telling you that I am in the preparation of tomorrow morning, Sunday. Some youth to come clear the compound, I'll be in communication with the elders so that by Monday we can have our first sitting, so that I can know now that we can have now that office now structured well. We see ahead of the tent and the chairs, so that now we can now be able now to start this awareness. We get all the them know exactly what they did before even we plan with them. Humble appealing for all
Okay,
our
thank you,
unitary
Benson.
purpose.
I think
Thank
we
you.
should get on with this presentation because we have many more slides to
Thank
go,
you.
actually. Thank you,
Thank you,
Benson, for
sir.
your feedback.
I have given my information, sir.
So I want to mention as well the Marrakesh Declaration. This was a statement made in January 2016 by more than 250 Muslim religious leaders and heads of state and scholars, which champions defending the rights of religious minorities in predominantly Muslim countries, where the declaration invokes the 7th century Charter of Medina as a basis for guaranteeing human and citizen rights in modern Muslim countries. It's a model for how religious tradition in international human rights and human rights law can be mutually reinforcing and can serve as a powerful resource for legitimizing and advocating for minority rights and equal citizenship more broadly. And it was actually Britain who was one of the signatories of the 2018 Marrakesh Declaration, one of the very first. And so I'm putting this into the chat as well. And so there is another YouTube video that I would like to show as well, now that this last one is finished. It's called St. Francis and the Wolf. And I will once again share the screen for those who are still on with us on this call. Give me 1 second. This one is YouTube. Hopefully, again, it has loaded already. Looks like it leads to. So that was one of the key messages that we shared at the very beginning when we began this series, because the work that we do through UnityNet has been in support of this Global Cooperation Day, which includes recognizing all relations as part of us and part of the living biosphere. So the actual UnityNet AHIABGA process of globalization of the global goals, starting with those Sustainable Development Goals, leading, of course, toward the Regenerative Development Goals, starts with the coordinated planting of the trees of peace and reconciliation in our local communities by the local community members, where the trees are ideally also planted in youth peace gardens with a peace pole and an Indigenous unity flag flying beside the trees as well. So the tree planting ceremonies are intended to be symbolic of the first step toward bringing local and regional community members together toward eventually creating local watershed peace councils, these interfaith, non-governmental, academic, business, and banking collaboratives, the community empowerment teams, and the networks. The purpose of these watershed peace councils is to empower the local community humanitarian social entrepreneurs, the HSE, who are learning how to design, build, maintain, operate, and repair their own local community life learning gardens and these cooperative enterprises. So this is really key to what it is that UnityNet is doing. We are not a solution provider. We work in partnership with solution providers. We work in partnership with others to deliver these types of programs like today's to bring awareness of the processes of peace, reconciliation, forgiveness, and ultimately for abundance in our communities through the various tools that we have at hand, like artificial intelligence and automation, fourth industrial revolution, which we are now implementing programs to establish the infrastructure in demonstration projects now here in Canada, partnered with communities who are ready to partner with us around the world, across Africa, in Asia, in different places in the world, who may wish to partner with the city of Markham, the watershed peace councils in the Don and Rouge watershed in particular, but also along that corridor to Brampton, and eventually then across the Oak Ridges Moraine from Rice Lake to the Niagara Escarpment, and then across Ontario from Ottawa to Windsor, and then north, and as well up into the north of North America, and then across Canada, where we are beginning to implement this type of sovereign AI infrastructure in our local communities. Our programs are designed to capture people's voices so that we can align the AI and the AI systems with the community voices and their needs and the types of foundational security infrastructure that they ultimately need in their own local communities, so they can work with their own partners through their own watershed peace council to implement the solutions that they need locally for themselves in alignment with their own communities. So the original Drawdown Markham HEPTA Matrix Partnership template, our public sector template, or our multi-sector template, included public sector, the local, regional, state, provincial, and national government representatives, the private sector focusing on local SMEs that are operated by local humanitarian social entrepreneurs who have pledged to locally implement the global goals in their own local communities, in their watersheds, in their bioregions, as part of their business operations, and where they have also pledged as well to leave no one behind. So this is now where we're going to move into the next phase, of working with the, most likely the Canada Infrastructure Bank and other organizations here as well, through civil society partnerships, the NGOs, the nonprofits, the Rotary clubs, the Lions clubs, these other service organizations, as well as with the educational organizations, the schools, the colleges, the universities, and the different partners within the school boards and the learning institutions, both public and private, locally, regionally, nationally, and internationally, through the Global Sister Schools program, including in those conflict regions and developing economies, and even the refugee camps in places with potentially vastly different cultures, but activities that are common among us, like the production of food for our own local communities, where we want to demonstrate universal technologies, universal solutions and then work on future exchanges to share that knowledge, again, through the Global Sister Schools program, where we also are working with the interfaith organizations. Examples of some interfaith organizations here in Markham, as an example, are the United Church, as well as the Interfaith Toronto organization, which we're hoping to work with eventually, but we are going to start with our own local watershed peace council with the interfaith partners that are here in all the different communities, Christian and Muslim and other faith communities in the Asian diaspora and into other diaspora communities. So the sixth sector, the orange economy, is the communities that are creative, the artists of all kinds. And then, of course, I mentioned the financial sector. This includes all ethical and aligned bankers and lenders, from credit unions to private ethical financial providers of all kinds, as well as indigenous peoples. So bringing all of them together at these rocking chair circles, in the story pods, in the youth peace gardens and forests, for the dialogue regarding how we can actually implement these foundational security solutions for ourselves in our own communities. So very important, for instance, that we work with an organization called PodNet. PodNet has some foundational security solutions that we can teach young people in particular to work with their different colleagues across the multiple sectors, and to ensure that they are understanding and learning using the tools that are available to them through the AI systems once again. Okay, thank you. Thank you, Andrew. So what I would like to do as well is mention the Watershed Peace Councils, what we call INAB collaboratives, or Interfaith Neighborhood Academic and Business and Banking Collaboratives, formalized through these agreements with the respective regional and national UnityNet Secretariat. The members of the Watershed Peace Councils encouraged to engage with members of the local communities, begin undertaking and organizing additional tree planting ceremonies of the trees of peace and reconciliation, and establishing those youth peace gardens and forests as well, planting larger numbers of trees. This is not just a drawdown exercise as per our CTP program, where we are twinning with other watershed peace councils globally to establish these productive community unity forests and community unity garden learning centers that can be used by the local community members as these unity hubs for learning. The goal being ways to seek out and leave no one behind in the local community, where, again, you can see in the chat, I'm leaving some information about the concept of leaving no one behind. and that is actually a universal value from the United Nations and their framework for the Sustainable Development Goals. And so the watershed peace councils are formalized through an MOU, and ongoing community engagement activities should be organized by the watershed peace councils in collaboration with the various local service organizations. So the different types of ongoing or periodic community engagement activities include our bubble fund events, fairs and festivals, and any kind of bubble fund sports, arts, or dancing events in their own local communities, community events, wherever the watershed peace councils have already planted a tree of peace and reconciliation, established these youth peace gardens and forests. They can now move forward with these additional community engagement events, seeking out to identify and have conversations with the local talent and creative people, the performers, especially musicians and dancers, invite them to participate in these virtual events like the Tea Diplomacy Initiative events or Sunlight Spectacle events, and these other types of virtual dialogues like this one, and ask them to contribute and to create a catalog of messages for peace, reconciliation, and forgiveness, and the message of global cooperation for achieving those goals, the Sustainable Development Goals today and the Regenerative Development Goals tomorrow, and establish dialogues with local schools in particular, starting at any level, but including the institutes of higher learning, the universities, the colleges, the public and private institutions, get them involved in the local delivery of the various regenerative climate smart learning programs associated with the actual physical infrastructure for delivering the foundational security solutions. So as defined by the faith communities themselves, I want to mention as well this idea of the true meaning of jihad, as hadith states, the real jihad is to strive against the ego in order to obey God, where jihad includes all devotions and righteous acts, even those relating to commerce and manufacturing as well. And so as we near the end of this today, I'd like to mention that the indigenous perspective that it exists among all of the indigenous communities of Turtle Island includes the blessing of 4 directions. It had its roots in the Native American culture and the belief that human beings are all tied to all things in nature. And it's this belief which assigns virtues to the 4 cardinal directions, east, south, west, and north. And again, I am leaving some additional information in the chat for those who may wish to explore more of these teachings. The understanding that without the environmental services of our planet fully intact, none of us can achieve the goals of peace on Earth or this concept of regenerative development. And again, the true meaning of the 4 directions, a third way forward for the economy. It means focusing on nature as the backbone of all our economies, where the economy that we describe is merely a subset of the ecology, where machines and technologies are not the economy. People doing things is what makes an economy what it is. So empowering people to lift themselves from poverty, and that will lead to automatically injecting new life into the economy, what we call the economy. So the renewable carbon economy that we're attempting to put into place rests on the greatest environmental service of all, which is our ability to feed ourselves and grow food in sufficient abundance that we no longer need to merely subsist or just exist on the land. But this requires that we care for things like soil, water, atmosphere, and requires that we care for Mother Earth and, most importantly, for each other. And so I want to as well share another video that was actually an inspiration very much for this whole series in the first place. And I'm going to play this video, which was the greatest inspiration for why we created UnityNet in the first place. And so this is one more share, and I hope this is an inspirational video for everyone.
I am Mother Earth, don't use me, don't abuse me. I am Mother Earth, love me, keep me irie. I am Mother Earth, don't use me, don't abuse me. I am Mother Earth, love me, keep me irie. Don't you love it when the air it is clean? Don't you love it when the sun is your beam? Don't you love it when a new baby born, life in its purest form? Well, don't you love it when lovers hold hands? Don't you love it when the weak take a stand? What would we do if night turned today? I am Mother Earth, don't use me, don't abuse me. I am Mother Earth, love me, keep me irie. I am Mother Earth, don't use me, don't abuse me. I am Mother Earth, love me, keep me irie. You know those days when you were reminded that the universe is surely conspiring to provide everything you need and want. Your desires, love and loyalty is the authority. I am Mother Earth, don't use me, don't abuse me. I am Mother Earth, love me, keep me irie. I am Mother Earth, don't use me, don't abuse me. I am Mother Earth, love me, keep me irie. Well, I am calling all the boys and I am calling all the girls. Let us clean up this place, clean up this whole world. Don't bother with the diamonds and no business with the pearls. Everything that you need, you know better forget. Oh, come let me feel the breeze between the sweet trees. Get down on your knees and say a prayer, please. Because I am Mother Earth, don't use me, don't abuse me. I am Mother Earth, love me, keep me irie. I am Mother Earth, don't use me, don't abuse me. I am Mother Earth, love me, keep me irie. I am Mother Earth, don't use me, don't abuse me. I am Mother Earth, love me, keep me irie. We are Mother Earth.
So thank you again for that. I have left that in the chat as well for those who wish to learn or to have that and see that and listen at any time. Then we have another one. This is, I saved there. I'm not going to play this one, but I do want to play this as we approach the end. This is actually near the end of our presentation today. And this has been always something, this was all began with our lockdowns during COVID-19 and the pandemic back in 2020, 2021. And so this is actually something that we have been playing since that time. And I will share it here as well, because it actually has a strong message regarding the current context that we are in as well, which seems to be continuing, especially in places like the United States, but also in other places around the world. So let me just play this.
Are you scared yet? They say this thing, it kills your immune system, attacks your lungs, makes it hard to breathe, and it's spreading. Spreading like wildfire, causing havoc. Your friends and family are gonna get it, if they don't already have it. It's tragic, I tell you, madness. Scientists say old people get it worse, but most get it eventually. They say this is new, but no. This has been around for centuries. Look at history, it's just a different name, a different strain. And now there's no way to contain it. It infects the rich, poor, young, old, the unknown, the famous. It's dangerous. Everyone's on edge. Emergencies. Grocery stores are empty. Nobody's praying in church. The world has gone to crap. No wonder toilet paper sold out first. The stock market crashed. Thousands laid off work. Hand sanitizer is going for $1 million a squirt. You better not sneeze, cause no one's gonna say God bless you. They might even arrest you. I don't mean to stress you, but washing your hands obsessively in the restroom will not protect you. Friends, I'm not talking about coronavirus. Now this is a virus even more deadly. The F virus. You've seen it. It spreads every minute like an epidemic. It lives on surfaces, most commonly remote controls, TV screens, cellular phones. It makes you desperate. Doctors say every time you scroll down your feed, you get reinfected. It invades the brain, and when it mutates, it turns into hatred and blame. China did it, no Italy did, no Iran, no Spain. Oh, I didn't make it clear? The F virus, ladies and gentlemen, is fear. But don't be afraid. Despite what you hear or see on your TV, there is good news during this tragedy. To fight loneliness, people are performing concerts on their balconies. The UAE sent aid to Iran. Japan donated supplies to China for free. Written on them was a poem that said, "We are waves from the same sea." Listen to me, like every tragedy, we can let this destroy us, or we can use it to our benefit and repair relationships with our sisters and brothers, wipe away silly grudges, because when it's all said and done, all we ever really had in this world was each other. So yes, let's flatten the curve and expand our hearts. Let's social distance, boost our immune systems, be mindful of where we put our hands, but also where we put our attention. Be alert, not fearful, because the F virus is a pandemic easily transmitted. If you do contract it or exhibit symptoms, we recommend immediately dialing the hotline of a level-headed friend. If you are exposed through your TV, change the dang station. Decontaminate yourself through dance, laughter, and meditation. 2020 has been morbid. From Kobe to COVID, may we use these tragic moments to finally wake up to what's important. Right now, tell someone that you care for them. Yes, right now, tell them that you cherish them. If they are not in the same room, ring them up and tell them you will always be there for them. Because together is how we will rise above. The only vaccine for this F virus and every other virus is love.
So this, to me, this was also a very important message that wasn't well conveyed during that period of time, during the pandemic, but it is a poetic reminder of the real virus we fight, and calls for us to heal through empathy and understanding, to vaccinate ourselves with compassion. So I did post the link in the chat as well as some additional programs. The 3-step program for a brand new beginning in the culture of peacemaking through the trees of peace and reconciliation, the Spark for Humanity, the Climate Smart Life Learning Garden, learning centers, and the music like the one I had played earlier. So now we're going to finish up the event. We're about a few minutes over time right now to our existing or our scheduled time. But I want to mention the core mandate of UnityNet International, the delivery of these life value peace education programs through the partnerships as per SDG 17, partnerships for the goals as per the We Energize Global Cooperation Turtle Island International Civil Society Organization. And so we are demonstrating the delivery of the Regenerative Development Goals solutions in the years running up to 2030. So we do have a plan for the next several years. We will be going to the different organizations for funding for here in Markham, in the Greater Toronto area in Canada. We will be working through the Watershed Peace Councils, the one we establish here locally, and then in any other Watershed Peace Council globally that is prepared to partner with us. So right now, of course, we're talking with some folks in Kenya, like Benson, as well as various others through our community outreach coordinator, Lisa Anise. We're also talking with some folks in other countries in sub-Saharan Africa as well, in making proposals with regard to these twin youth peace routes and corridors that we want to establish. Here in Southern Ontario, it would be initially between Brampton and Markham as part of the coordination for our 2026 Canada Global South Ideas Forum. So I am looking forward to continue these dialogues, hoping to work further with you, Benson and Khaled, and all the others that are members of our network. So thank you, thank you.
I also wanted to thank you, Khalid. Khalid, welcome very much. There is a lot we need to work from you, from Egypt, really a lot. Welcome, sir.
Thank you, sir, and thank you, Leon, for this summit. I appreciate your sharing. It's very beautiful, actually. And just we go forward to continue to support for, especially in Africa, because I'm sure I will make change for knowledge for all youth in Africa. That's my passion. I do that.
Absolutely.
Please,
so I would like to
support
involve
me
you.
to do that, especially in Kenya, Ghana, and Zimbabwe.
Welcome. We have Lloyd here, and I really trust Lloyd. He is our secretary in the UnityNet, so I am really welcoming you and really looking forward to.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. And also,
I wonder how now Egypt, the source of River Nile is in Lake Victoria, but you have foods in Kenya. So as that logic, I also need, how can the Lake Victoria be derived from we have the larger part of it. And then now really we are suffering our people there, while now Egypt somehow you have food like than us. We will be discussing, sir, but welcome.
Sure, sir.
Looking forward now for your communication.
So
what really is one family. We are one family here, and here the big boss Lloyd, he will support us to grow with all Africa. Thank you. It's my passion.
What I need is how I can be able to tap now the Lake Victoria water well to get well across now even to areas where now even the water cannot be able to reach. Because we have now, there is a way now we can work really, because that is something that I have problem with the refugees. Kenya refugees are many. We need to have a way of farming. We need to have our food. And in fact, now having our food now, we can be able even to think. Because now, if we are having a problem of fooding, so there's a way we need to work, sir.
Yeah.
And maybe Leon,
So
you have the framework. Yeah.
Benson, I propose
Absolutely.
that since
Absolutely.
Khaled is on this call with us here today, that
Yes.
we have a conversation with Khaled, and please build your partnership locally in your watershed where you are. Multi-stakeholder partnerships with
what we have
all of the
discussed,
civil
sir.
society organizations globally through the BIPOCA Alliance of Kenya to create the Interfaith Council, to work with the schools, to bring the young people so their voice is front and center, and the women so their voice is front and center. So we
Sir.
can work with Khaled to ensure their voice is
Yeah.
being
Yes.
used to train the AI systems in alignment with your community needs, along
Thank you,
with
sir.
the wisdom keepers in your local community. The
Yes,
faith
I ready
community.
to do that.
That's what we have discussed, sir, and I've told you really that within now this Rome Village Administration Office, I am looking forward tomorrow used to clear the compound. On Monday, I need to be meeting the village committee, get them on board, structure them according to our structure of the 99 department and the portfolio, have now the conversation, even looking forward now to get now the tent and the chairs now where now that I need now to execute this calendar as we have said, sir. As you are saying now, this information, you'll have it from Monday, sir. You are getting minutes, what we are doing. We had a meeting with the committee. This is what we have discussed. Our next move is this data information that will help you now, even now, to be able to conduct now the business now of our meetings. So we are now on this, sir. If there is not that, that conversation will come, really. But
Very
now that is
important
what I'm looking
to
for.
have
By
these
Monday,
discussions.
by Monday, I'm
sure.
sitting down. By Monday, I'll be having with the committee. I'll be sitting with the village committee, sir. I will be able to forward you the minutes and what we have discussed and what is the way next ahead of Tuesday. This Peace Healing Academy now, this is where now I need us to model it from, and I will really not fail you, sir. So any other input will come across now, the building of partnership and whatever we are going to come to get, that is now where now the internet lies now. How now we will get now moving well, but in my progress, Monday, that's what I'm doing.
On Monday, I would suggest begin the conversation by saying that you will be establishing a youth peace garden.
Yeah, that is what I'm doing.
Okay.
That is what I'm doing, sir.
So
That is
bring
what I'm
all
doing.
the partners together, the schools, the faith leaders, all of them, not just the elders, the young people in particular. That's why I say talk to Khaled. Organize with Khaled so those young people's voices are front and center.
Sure. And that's what will be very easy. And already, Sir Benioson, please, I have already qualified group, beautiful youth from Kenya, from university. I already have contact with them since last year. We are together working for new project for all Kenya, plus other countries in Africa, and also contact with global organization in Botswana and also in Zimbabwe and other countries, because I contact directly with ministries of education, because I meet them in the global event in Zimbabwe by UN. It was a big event and contact already with them.
That is my contact there. I've got my contact there. I'm working out on that, sir.
Yes, sir.
Step by step, because now tomorrow is Sunday. Those youths are going to come and clean now the compound of the office. By Monday, I'm meeting now the committee. The committee is the one which is having the youth leader and the assistant youth leader, so that we can be able to schedule now the first youth leadership conference or meeting either on Wednesday or what. So I am really on track, and I really perfectly to derive the information needed, sir.
Sure.
The modality of operation, Lloyd has all that information.
We have now the gentleman Lloyd. He will support. I know he's good. He hard work. I know this man really. I love him so much. He do impossible things. I continue with him. I follow what he did every day. That's nobody can do what he did. Really, believe me.
In
Keep
fact,
quiet.
I told him this is a calling because what he is doing now, really, it's something like he is now like our religious, or I think it is something now which is calling because now the way he is working and how we have been working, now we are putting now it into place, and I will never let him down. Neither will I let you down, because now my people are waiting. In fact, they are waiting even now for the day. For the information is already with them that there is a peace healing academy that they are supposed to be getting in. So it's only now, step by step, the models of operations. Lloyd has all our information where we are now and what we are looking forward to, and by operations by Monday. But now that setup now of everything really calls now for budgetary appropriation. We are trying to see all what we can do with our concerns so that at least now we can be able now to get moving. Lloyd, all that information you have. Harley, that is my contact. Any other information, we are supposed to work the three as we are getting there, and we will really make it happen. I am really certain, sir. Thank you.
Thank you all for staying on for this long period of time. We are quite a bit over time now, about 15 minutes longer than we expected. So thank you all for coming out today. I will be continuing to promote tomorrow's event. So we have World Teachers Day tomorrow, the Joy with Music Zoom call as well.
Okay, what's the link for registration? That's the same link?
No, I'll be sending that out, reminders over the WhatsApp.
That's great. Okay, I'm sure you do all the best. Thank you for your time, and thank you for this event. That's amazing. Thank you. Bye bye.
Thank you.
Take care, everyone. Bye bye.
Bye bye.
Okay, bye. It's enough.
Bye bye, my dear friend. Bye bye.
Bye. We'll talk. You reach out me. Lloyd will connect later there. Bye. Thank you.